G'day everyone, my name is Dasha, and in this video I'm going to be sharing with you exactly what it's like to be living in one of the world's luckiest countries. I'm going to be sharing the experiences with you, not only for the people that are already living in this country, but also for people who are thinking of traveling here or potentially making the full-time move.
Pop, pop, it's showtime. Showtime. Guess who's back again?
Alright, I'm going to do a retake. I think for this particular video, all I'm going to be doing is just giving you a very brief introduction at a high level into what society is like here in Australia, and then later on in other videos I'm going to be going a lot deeper into it. So all around the world, Australia is very popular for its laid-back lifestyle, but beneath the surface there's so much more to this. So essentially what's very important to a lot of people here is the sense of community. This is really more evident in small country towns, but overall, even in the cities, you find that there are small pockets where communities come together. Australia is blessed with some of the most stunning beaches in the world, and it's not just us Aussies who actually think so. So from the iconic Bondi Beach in Sydney to the secluded shores of Western Australia, our coastlines offer something for everyone. So whether you're a surfer who's just chasing that perfect wave, or a family who's looking for a relaxing day out in the sun, or someone who really just wants to soak in the natural beauty, Australia's beaches are really a true paradise for everyone. So further inland you'll find that there's farmers that still to this day live a life on the land where they actually raise livestock and basically live a life that is far away from the cities, and it's actually much quieter for them. Now these farms can range in size, so some of them are really only up to 10 acres or can actually be up to hundreds of acres or thousands of acres, so some of the farms are actually quite huge. So there's a lot of empty space in this country, and really depending on what part of the country you're in, you'll see that the land is actually used for different purposes. Now out in the Australian bush, due to lack of water, you probably find that they don't grow much vegetables or fruits, as that's what they do closer to the coastal areas where it rains more. So for the majority of Australians, you'll find that fairness and equality is ingrained into our social fabric. So it's really about giving everybody a fair go. And you'll often hear phrases here like no worries, which really is a reflection of how easygoing the majority of people are here. So typically what you'll find is we are actually quite relaxed about the way that we communicate with each other. So using terminology like g'day mate, which is short for good day mate, mate obviously being a friend, or how's your arvo, arvo meaning afternoon. Typically what I find is when our relatives come from overseas, they actually find it quite difficult to speak with us because of our local lingo. So I've actually had relatives who claim to be very proficient in the English language, and they're actually English teachers in their native countries, being Syria for me. So they find it extremely difficult to understand our language, and that's maybe because, partially because of the accent, and sometimes we seem to speak too fast, or really just the dialect that we use over here. So when it comes to employment in Australia, there's many vast opportunities that are available for all people with different types of backgrounds and different types of education. But essentially what people don't understand is that although we have a very high income in comparison to the rest of the world anyway, it's generally offset by the cost of living, more so when you are living in some of the major cities such as Sydney or Melbourne. So depending on your field of study or whatever your background may be, salaries in Australia can actually vary very significantly. For example, while tech and finance roles often offer what we call lucrative salaries, those in education, healthcare, or arts might find their earnings are very average in comparison. So it's really important to have realistic expectations and be prepared for some of the challenges that job hunting has really in any country, but more specifically in Australia. One of the other amazing things about this beautiful country is all the different various foods that we have here. The great steaks that you can have and the various seafood is just fantastic. But what makes Australia so unique is all the various cultures that have come to this country as immigrants, and they've brought their delicious foods with them. All right, so in Australia, we normally have about 7 public holidays each year. And if you're working a full-time job, that's basically meaning that you're working under the proper tax system and you're employed as a full-time employee, then a lot of these people really look forward to these days off. One of the real touchy topics here in Australia is when it comes to cultural complexities. So in general, what happens is when people come from these various countries and they come from traditions that are really, I guess, they're ingrained into them, they can find it a little bit difficult to integrate into a society here which is really open-minded. A classic example of this is really, you know, when you go down to the beach, say for example, it's very normal to see a lot of people, you know, in particular women in their bikinis and men just wearing their board shorts. So in some cultures this may not be accepted, but hey, look, if you come to Australia, it's the norm here. And one thing I guess you got to really understand is, look, there's no real right or wrong way. Just because you come from a particular background and you find that these traditions are very, you know, ingrained into the way that you've been brought up, it doesn't mean that it's necessarily the right or wrong way. At the end of the day, All right, so there you have it. That's the intro to this amazing place that we call Australia. If you like my video and you like the content that I shared here, please hit the like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for your support.